Yankee Jeff, it's INYF family. It's not your fault. I do appreciate you guys stopping by. Codependency recovery and enablement. That's what we do here. And before we get into that, I want to thank my sponsor, Vandelay Industries. When you say latex, you say Vandelay. How does addiction affect the entire family? Oh, well, I could do a 3-hour video on that. I mean, half you guys are already like, well, tell me something I don't know. How does it affect the entire family? I'll give you some bullet points of how addiction will insert itself in every aspect of everyone's life, of your loved one's family. Starting with, of course, the let's just say, for instance, we're talking about the nuclear family: husband, wife, 2 children, and a goldfish and a dog and a cat. It may not affect the goldfish, dog, and a cat so much, but let's talk about everybody else. The parents, if it's a child, we automatically feel like somehow it's our fault, that we somehow caused the situation. We feel insufficient. We feel like we failed the child. We failed as a parent. We feel like we somehow wish we could have done more. Maybe we didn't do enough. These are all the doubts that go through your life, your mind as a parent, when it comes to dealing with your loved one who's an addict, who may be your child. And it's not exclusive to the husband or the wife, it's both. When you get into a situation with a loved one who's a child, it's a weird dynamic, because your entire life, your child has been your charge. It's been your responsibility. It's been your cross to bear, not necessarily in a bad way, but it's been your responsibility. Your entire life is your child. But when they get into addiction, that's something that we're not qualified for. None of us are qualified. I don't care how many initials you have after your name. If your son or daughter begins using drugs or alcohol to the point of addiction, none of us can figure it out on our own. Okay, there's specialized groups out there that can help them: AA, NA, Favor, etc., that can help your loved one with their situation. This is where a parent feels helpless, because all the help we've given in the past, all the things we've done in the past, they don't work anymore, because your loved one, although still there, isn't really present. They're there, but they're not present. Does that make sense? Of course it does. So they're there, but they're not really being allowed to come out and play. They're being held down by this blanket of addiction. So especially when it comes to the parents, your loved one's addiction, being a child, is extremely difficult, very painful, and it affects every aspect of the parent's life. Father, the mother, no one comes out of this thing unscathed. Let's talk about the grandparents. Sure, grandparents may not be actively involved in the life as they used to be, like a parent was. They still feel affected, because they still feel like somehow, well, what did I do different? I didn't raise my son or daughter the proper way, and that's why they didn't raise my grandchild the right way. I mean, these are what we go through. We all blame ourselves. We all think it's somehow our fault, and it just it's like throwing a rock in a still pond. It kind of just ripples out, and it affects everyone around us. Let's talk about if it's a parent who's your loved one who's suffering from addiction, and you're a child. There's actually a group, adult children of alcoholics, ACA, and it's listen. If you're raised in a household of alcoholics or addicts, you don't think that you escaped unscathed, do you? It's there. Okay, either you're lying to yourself, or you're actually hopefully in a group right now trying to get serenity, because that's one of the toughest things. When you look at your role model, and in human society, the same-sex parent is who you look for towards being a role model. Same-sex parent. So you look at your father if you're a son, your mother if you're a daughter, try and emulate. Okay, if you see say for instance, if you're a son, you see your father as an alcoholic or addict, what kind of impact does that have on your mental growth? Of course it's going to have an impact. Okay, same with the daughter. If your daughter sees the mother being a fall down drunk, that's going to affect her. Is that how she thinks that motherhood's supposed to be? Like you're supposed to be out drunk all the time, or sipping on a little something through the course of the day? Of course not, right? But it does affect them. Probably more so than anything else, the parents living in a household, and if those parents are alcoholics or addict, they have the biggest impact, I think, on the children than anything else. Okay, like if they were spousal abusers, same thing. It's something you could deal with. Those scars will be there for the rest of your life. What about if you're the spouse? Well, I mean, my word, If your spouse is the one who's the alcoholic or addict, of course it's going to affect your life. This is your life partner, and your life partner is suffering from addiction. It's bound to either take you with it, it's bound to bring your relationship to a whole new level, or it's bound to separate you, which happens a lot, unfortunately. It does. It's a fact of life. It's a fact of addiction. We need to be realistic when we look at the fact that does addiction or alcoholism affect everyone's life. You may feel like you're hiding it. You may feel like you've hitting it well from your spouse, your brother, your sister, or your children. They're smarter than they are, than you think. They're smarter than you think. And addiction thinks it's a lot smarter than it actually is. Addiction thinks it can outsmart everybody. It thinks it's getting over on everybody, but it ain't. It's not. It's a big liar. It thinks it knows what it's doing, but it doesn't. One thing addiction is good at is being fed. It knows how to get itself fed and taken care of at the expense of everything else around it. Is it systemic? Yeah, it's systemic because it affects the whole entire family. I won't get into the whole hereditary thing right now. That's a different video altogether. But if there is an alcoholic or an addict in your family, it is systemic. It will affect everybody. If you've got one child who's an addict, the other child isn't, and all the attention is going towards the child who's the addict or the alcoholic, the other child will be affected. The other child may start acting out just to get attention, because any attention is better than no attention, whether it's bad or good. It's the spouse. There's trust factors involved there. If they've been using and they lie about it, what else are they lying about? It is systemic because it affects the entire family. And it's like a rock thrown into a pond. Those ripples will affect everybody. Now, by the time they get to the outside parts of the shore, uncles, grandparents, stuff like that, maybe it's not as effective, as much of a splash, much as a ripple, a wave as the immediate family. But it does affect everyone. It does. Never doubt for a second that it does, because it does. It's systemic. It will somehow, some way rub off on everybody. And this is why, if you were born, raised in a household of addiction, you should be definitely in an AL-ANON group right now, okay? Or an ACA group, adult children of alcoholics or addicts. Get somewhere where we get some help, because the stuff we're talking about, I've lived it, you're living it. Go to some place where everyone in the room has lived it. Okay. Feel uplifted by the people in that room, because that room is where you're going to find the magic. It's where the magic happens. All right. So even though this YouTube page is amazing, my videos are incredible. Remember, Jeff Soretta, BTDT, been there, done that. Still, being around people like you who can lift you up, that's where the really magic happens. Okay. Like I always say, keep coming back, because it works if you work it. If you go to a meeting one time, you don't get anything out of it, keep going back. Keep going back, keep going back. Give it 6 or 7 meetings before you say it's not for me. It's like trying out a pair of shoes. Al-Anon meetings, there's probably 3 a day wherever you live. So if you've got a one on a Monday, it doesn't seem right, go to the one on Tuesday, different place, maybe different kind. Every meeting's a little bit different. We all have the same traditions, steps, etc., concepts. We all have the same readings, books, etc. But the meeting may be run a little bit differently. Some people like it a little loosey-goosey. Some people like it strict and regimented. Find one that works for you, but it works if you work it. Keep on going back, because it does work if you work it. And say a prayer for the prayer. Say a prayer for all those people that are affected in the family that have been affected by addiction, who haven't talked about it yet. May God bless you, and keep coming back.